Hello, my name's Alun, and today I'm facilitating a session of Starforged. This is run under the banner of the Open Hearth Gaming Community. If you don't know about the Open Hearth Gaming Community, please search Open Hearth Gaming Community and you will find us. Come play with us, join our Patreon, get priority access to our games. We've got a great calendar, lots of games. Come play. I'm not going to do a blurb on how this session fits in to the previous ones, because it seems to me that we'll do that in play, and you can always go back and look at session one. So with that in mind, I'm not even going to do introductions today. I'm just going to launch straight into play. Because what I want to do is to just kind of pick up where we left off last time in the immediate aftermath. So can I begin by asking Corbin Darsk to just describe the end point we reached last time as you remember it.
I remember feeling some guilt about how badly I handled the piloting, and Cinderwing kind of pulling my bacon out of the fire, and the strange psychic incidents with Collie, Relic, and like getting them out of it, but not being sure like exactly what's gone on. Those are like the key features that are stuck in my mind about what happened.
Cinderwing, I think the point we left was Darsk screaming into the comms, "Get us out of here! Get us away from this ice miner."
Yeah.
What do you when we come back? Moments later, what do we see on the bridge of the Legacy's Lament?
I think we started to move away from where we picked up the miner. I'm not entirely sure what's going on and why Corbin is so panicked about the whole thing. So I'm not super panicked myself, and I'm pulling away, but I'm not super fast about it or anything, because the one who runs too fast stumbles too hard.
And in your screens, we'll see the ice miner continue to tumble away in your wake. And on the other screen, showing the where Darsk and Relic are, we will see on the screen just a view down into the hold. Relic, you are recovering. Darsk dragged you in through the airlock, but had to drop you on the ground when this ice miner, who'd been panicked and really grateful for any help, suddenly went berserk. So what do we see in the immediate aftermath from Relic?
Did I get any inkling of, or did I just freeze up? It was very unclear to me last session whether or not what I actually knew about what was happening to me.
I think that you felt control. You felt someone or something reaching for you, and in some great insubstantial hand just grasping you, so that the events went on around you. You were conscious of what was going on around you, but it's something you've never experienced before.
Yeah. Well, I grab hold of Darsk's suit, and pull him close, and I say, "It was them. They can reach me even out here. I didn't run far enough. I didn't run hard enough."
Them who?
They want it. They want it, but they can't have it. They do. I have to keep it from them.
Once again, I put my hand where you're clutching my suit. I ask the question, and I stop and I go, "Relic, are you with me? Focus. Can you see me?"
Wild-eyed, and I just go, "That poor man. He died. They took him because they couldn't take me."
And of course, the camera will drift to our ice miner, who is lying in a pool of blood because he, at the point when Corbin restrained him using those augmented arms, he went wide-eyed and started bleeding from his ears.
I say, let's check him. We haven't checked to see if he's still alive or not. If he is dead, that is a thing. But let us see if we can help him first.
Yeah.
Focus.
I imagine two big augmented arms on either side of Relic's shoulders, snapping him out of it finally, you know, like the weight, the pressure. He looks, he says, yeah, I've got some things I need to tell you in Cinderwing.
So what's going on down there? I'm not talking to you over the comms because I don't know.
Oh, sorry. We've had an incident where we need to do some
Obviously.
medical.
Yeah.
Right now, we'll be with you in just a moment. We got to do some medics.
Okay. Who's injured? The miner or one
Miner
of you?
is injured.
Okay.
We're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say, set a course out of here and we'll see you in the bay. Right? Like, feels as though we can have a Firefly style chat around the makeshift gurney or whatever, right? Like,
yeah. I'll set the course and they'll come down and we'll figure out what's going on. Maybe.
And so I guess cut to as you say, a gurney with I won't make you roll for the medical check. The miner is dead. And I guess there's a callback to your sort of seeking redemption here, Corbin Dast, because you're about trying to save people who've been possessed by stuff.
Yeah.
And this one's a goner. So yeah, I'm seeing all three of you stood around the gurney. Who does what? Cinderwing? It's your ship.
Yeah, but that was well. What was that? What did that?
I think that, like, I will relay everything that I experienced to give Relic a chance to gather themselves together and kind of, this is what happened. I screwed up this. I went out there. I tried to do this. We got him inside after you did that skillful piloting, but then some force took a hold of him and he became violent. I tried to restrain him, and whatever that force was that possessed him, it killed him from the inside.
So biological or psychic?
And then I turned to Relic.
Do we know that?
I've never seen them do anything like this before. It's usually just people and money and bribes and power. And I've always managed to stay one step ahead of that. But this was like, it's like a hand reached out as he says this, and he holds the pommel of the sword, and it grabbed me. And it wielded me, and it wielded that miner like a weapon.
Who are they?
I only know of them as the Scourge Sworn. They're looking for this, and I hold up the blade. It's a relic of the homeworlds. They're connected to whatever happened back then. I've heard people say that they're mystics, madmen, scientists. They once tried to recruit me and told me that they were going to fix everything that was broken here in the forge. But the things they do to people, I had no idea they were capable of this.
I'm curious, Cinderwing, we know that your people are storytellers, collectors of myths and legends, and repeaters of stuff, some of which is true, some of which may be entirely story-based. But is this an opportunity for you to kind of search your memory in terms of whether there is anything that does this ring a bell? Any of this Scourge Sworn, Sundershard?
I haven't heard. Yeah, I think it does. I think it at least the mention of the old relics from the old homeland, that absolutely rings a bell. It's usually not not a good one, though. Relics from the old Hogwarts are usually, people say they're cursed, all of them. People say they brought the Bane with them. They carried that with them. And they who release it might wield immense power, I think, but also will destroy themselves and others along the way.
Let's have you roll to gather information to see whether you can winnow through all this blizzard of possibility.
Okay, and I roll it with wits, right?
With wits, indeed so.
Cool, and I rolled 2d10s.
And 1d6.
And 1d6. And the d6 is the good one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll add +2. Okay. To my d6. Well, I mean, yes, that is pretty good.
That's a strong success.
Yeah.
You discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Take +2 momentum, and I think I can tell you that there a lot of what you were saying there, certainly your people believe to be true, that there were things constructed back in the home galaxy before you had to run, and that some of that stuff was responsible for opening the way for the Ravagers. So I think that is now fact in the game. Some of those relics are capable of opening the way for the Ravagers. Those how did we describe them? Corrupting biological scourges.
I wonder about one thing. We have a corpse here. He's kind of dead, and he died by, we don't know really. I want to see if there is a biological taint that killed him, or if this is just a bleeding inside a skull made by psychic magic-y thingy.
Okay.
Stuff.
Oh, that's a very interesting question.
Right?
I'm thinking of, how do we know what kind of medical equipment or access you have? I think there probably is a medical module that we could select for the ship at some point.
Yeah, I think so, but
we don't have that yet. So I'm looking for, check your gear is what I'm looking for.
Yay.
When you check to see if you have a specific helpful item or resource. So this is about how sophisticated your medical bay is, I guess. Is there more than just a gurney and a first aid box? So roll plus your supply, Cinderwing.
I am just trying to find the move, but I will.
Oh, sorry, it's on adventure and combat.
Adventure and combat. I was exploration. I was expecting exploration and suffering, but no, it's here. And I can't read that. Anyway, so I will roll plus my, what's my supply though? My supply is 5.
What could go wrong?
A lot could go wrong.
To quote someone, you're losing money not trying.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. That's all. Yeah. I'm still for success.
Strong success. On a strong success, you have it and are ready to act. Take 1 momentum, and you have sufficient medical equipment to make a judgment about cause of death. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Cinderwing's going to do something of an autopsy. Relic and Raven. What are you thinking at this point? Corbin, Raven?
Relic, are you injured?
No. I think the blade protected me.
Okay. Because I do see your health is down 1, right?
Yeah, I think I banged you against the side of a ship.
Yeah. I think I twinge my ribs and say, I think the blade protected me from whatever they did. Just your flying.
Well, let me try and provide care to you. I'm going to try to do the heal action here. We don't have a med bay, so I don't get a reroll, but I will give it a shot if you don't mind.
No, give it a shot.
Oh, and you can check if he's infected by anything that infected the miner as well. Just, while you're at it.
You've all been breathing the air with that body in it. Just saying.
Yeah. Maybe I'll check all of us.
Yeah. So I'm going to roll a d6 and 2 d10s. And this is so that's a weak success.
A weak success. I think that I'm going to give you one back. I think that health can be put back up. It's just a nasty set of bruising. I think nothing terribly serious. Okay. Relic. Cinderwing, before we leave you to do the autopsy and maybe set up a scene with Relic and Raven, what does this medical equipment look like?
What does it look like? It looks kind of elaborate, like the ship. It looks more like steampunk equipment than like Star Trek equipment. There are blinking lights, but there are also little fogs and thingies and curlicues on it. It's clearly handcrafted by someone who was putting a lot of effort into the work. It's old, but it still works.
Fine. And we know we don't have AI, so it still requires some skill on your part, but it'll do the analysis. I should have asked that question about momentum or supply, because the weak hit does have a cost, doesn't it? 2 supply as the resources. Fine. So let's just leave Cinderwing for a moment to do the autopsy, to do the analysis, while Relic and Raven, maybe you continue this conversation away from the body.
Used to hunt monsters, didn't you, Raven?
I do hunt monsters.
Well, some of them are hunting me.
That's good. That's good. Because that's something I can manage.
You sure? You didn't seem too enthusiastic back on the where is it? Orbaris 4 or 5.
I'll do what needs to be done, especially if it threatens you or Cinderwing. Just like, I fucked this up before. I really don't want to fuck this up again.
Well, maybe stay away from the controls. And he smiles as you patch up his side with some sort of spray or anything.
Yeah. I do a little bit longer, like the spray, than it would be absolutely necessary.
And it has a certain astringency.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific questions, Raven, about where the sword comes from, about the scourge sworn? Sorry, I find that difficult to say.
The scourge sworn.
Scourge.
There you go. Easier to say than scourge sworn.
I do, but I think there is that, like, I go to start to ask, and then I stop myself, and I think Relic will come and tell us what he needs to tell us in his own time.
Okay.
Pushing on him is not to anybody's advantage. What I can do is make sure that he's safe, that Cinderwing, I can see that Cinderwing is kind of like keeps going back to the idea of the biologicals. I kind of put 2 and 2 together about like why they might be worried about that. And I am going to try, and I'm kind of moving back and forth, trying to make sure everybody is calm, focus on the thing, doing what I can to help out.
Fine. Cinderwing, let's have you again roll to gather information, I think, to see exactly what I can tell you about this autopsy.
Cool.
So wits, I think.
Wits again. I don't think I can manage to shoehorn shadow into this. So I'm sneaking up on you, biological thing. Yeah. Something's wrong with this word. So I think it's a weak success. Yes.
That looks like a weak success to me.
Yeah.
So on a weak success, you are going to get 1 momentum, I think.
Mhm.
And I will answer the question. There is something odd. He died of natural causes, in the sense of a huge spike in his blood pressure that burst blood vessels all over his all through his head. But when you and I just want to check my lines and veils on this because I don't want to get too gory. Nothing on gore. Okay, so I think that we will see you, lifting the brain out of the brain pan, where you can begin to kind of just examine what's there, and a long kind of pair of forceps go into the kind of fistula between the two hemispheres, and you part it, and we see you take out a small fragment of something, which I think goes into a kind of petri dish, and then you kind of spray some water on it just to clean it. And I think what I'll tell you, Cinderwing, is that it bears a significant resemblance to the stuff that's on the outside of Legacy Lament. And I've tried to firm up my thinking about that. I think that we talked about biological growths. In my mind's eye, that's become a kind of lichen, almost a kind of biological surface rust growth. And you also found that on the ships of your clan when you discovered everyone was dead. Why is that in this guy's head? And how did it get there?
That's a very good question.
Those are the questions I think that the insight leaves you with. Does that seem reasonable?
That seems reasonable, and I will go and find Relic now because he seems to know more about this stuff, because I don't think this is totally unconnected.
So I'm imagining we reconvene, maybe around the table where the food reheater is located, and what passes for a social area on this ship, and the three of you are, and probably in the middle of the table is this petri dish with this fragment of biological material.
Yeah.
You had questions, Cinderwing, I think.
Yeah, but I will say this is an actually community area, right? Because of the way we live. This has to be more than just a sterile. And
yes,
I've cleaned it up a bit and put some stuff away, but still. Anyway, yeah, Relic. I don't know how much you know about this, but this guy, the ice miner, had this in his head, and it's like the lichen that grows on the hull, and also the stuff that grew on the ships where my people died. So,
but what's growing on the hull is your people carry that with them, don't they?
No,
had any.
No. This happened right at the same time they all died.
Oh.
I didn't have it cleaned away because at first I couldn't afford it, and then it seemed harmless, but this does not belong in people's heads. I never had the heart to do the full autopsy on my people.
Corbin, were you hands up then?
You're muted.
You are muted.
So we've also saw it on that weird living planetoid that we were on.
You did.
So we saw that.
And a much more advanced form, in as much as this appears to be an early stage. You saw when you were on that planetoid, or on that strange mat of biological material floating in the gases of a Jovian, some of the growths on the ship just began to bud.
So here is the question that I have about this material in the brain. You may not be able to answer it, Cinderwing. Is this something that was in this miner's brain for a while, that grew for a while, and that developed? Is this something that was caused by the mental infection, the mental attack, or did it make them susceptible or vulnerable to that mental attack? Like, I can see 3 scenarios. I'm most scared if this mental attack that they did caused this, because that would absolutely, like, that terrifies me. The other 2 bother me, but it's a price of doing business out here in the great back and beyond.
Oh, I
mean,
couldn't.
He was traveling in this sector too.
Yeah.
This growth, this whatever it is, we've seen it on that planet, or whatever it was. Maybe there's more of it here in this sector.
Oh shit!
Cinderwing, what are you?
One thing to say before.
I'm willing to listen to Corbin.
Like I suddenly say, can you detect the presence of that matter in someone's blood? And I look at Relic.
And I can try. I mean, now that I have more of this and I can scrape some of the hull, I think I can maybe, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, you know. My talents lie elsewhere, but, you know, improvisation is the heart of survival. So I can try. I would try that actually with all 3 of us, mostly also with me, because I've been living on this ship for a while, longer than you have. So I've been exposed for longer. But nothing tried to control me. Maybe I was too far away or too unimportant, I guess, or some other thing.
I mean, it must be said, nothing tried to control Darsk either, Corbin Darsk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was up close and personal with that.
That's true.
Ice miner.
True. So I think it can just cause this thing to erupt in our heads with the thought, or maybe it's just difficult. I don't know. Where is that? You said there was someone. Do we know where they've gone? What ship they were flying? I had no ship on the radar, I must tell you.
The ice miner?
The ice
no,
miners,
the other one.
Which other one?
You said there was
someone.
He was referring to the ice miner.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Whoever it was that attacked us, somewhere further, they were somehow doing it even beyond the sector, I think. I don't know where they were.
Huh. That scares me.
Now everyone's scared. Relic, where's the Sundershard as we speak?
I think laid across the table. You know, in its rags.
The conversation's going on. Cinderwing is engaging with Relic, engaging with Darsk. Darsk and Cinderwing are pretty freaked by some of these events. And things don't improve, Darsk, when you notice that the fragment in the Petri dish has doubled in size. I mean, it was only a speck, you know, tiny speck, but now it's half as tiny.
Relic, would you please move your blade away from the Petri dish?
Sure. I move it away from the Petri dish.
The rate of growth slows.
Huh. Interesting.
We were going somewhere, weren't we? We were flying somewhere. Let's go see if the solar waves are
we were
up. Yeah.
Transporting this weird crate around, right? That we haven't looked too closely at. And maybe we
Why did you say
I'm down the corridor running?
Because we have shaken a lot, and yeah, I'm following.
And indeed, Das, now you remember,
Prole.
yes, the power cable came loose. So it's been loose now for probably an hour, maybe 2 hours while the autopsy went on.
We'll plug that back in.
Plug it back in.
A couple tries before I get the USB in there.
And resecure the black box, the approximately 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet high.
Let's just call it a coffin.
I didn't want to call it a coffin, obviously.
I know, but in your head, we all call it a coffin, even though we say box, right?
And Dusk, when you plug it back in, there's an audible kind of whir, as though something is catching up, making good on the intervening time. Whatever was going on in there while that was plugged in, when it was unplugged, it stopped happening, and now you plugged it back in.
I think we should swap out rest, ship piloting stuff, and watching this for at least the next 24 hours.
Nothing happens.
We still don't know what's inside. Maybe it needs help. And it needs assistance.
When it asks for help, I'll be glad to help it. Right now, I'm worried about us.
Maybe it's not in shape to ask. And I'm kind of poke around at it, not really trying to open it, but if I touch something accidentally.
You don't need to make this worse, Cinderwing. You don't need to give me more ideas about what's in there. Let's just.
Yeah, but if it's dying,
we don't know. It's just a box, and I think we ought to treat it like a box for the moment.
Box with
we're not supposed to keep it plugged in, though. Seems to have come unplugged.
It's plugged in now. Look at the plug. Look at it.
Over that hour, as you keep an eye on it, Dusk, that kind of whirring declines until whatever stable state it was in before appears to have been reached again.
I will just run a cursory check just to see if there's some radiation leak or something. I imagine I find nothing, but just just to make sure.
I'm very happy for you to gather information on this.
Again, anybody else wants to gather?
Well, I mean, unless somebody else steps up, you keep asking the questions.
Yeah.
Roll the dice.
Oh, ask the questions, roll the dice. Okay.
Relic's still a bit shaken. Darsk is not sure he wants to know what's in it.
I'm not sure either, but I'm also not sure I don't want to know. I imagine this is with wits, right?
Yes.
So I've got a weak success because I've got a 5 and there's a 4. So
weak success it is. +1 momentum, and I think I can tell you that it has no dials, no indicators on the outside apart from a green light and a red light where the power supply goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it during that whirring period, the red light was on, then it started flashing, then it and the green light started flashing, then only the green light flashed, and now it's green again.
But it was in the red, right?
It was in the red when Corbin reached it after that hour or so of being unplugged. But in terms of the tools you have available, I guess, listening to it, trying to work, tapping it.
Not really trying to actually. I just
it appears to be just a box.
Okay. So there's no radiation, no weird SOS signal coming from inside on a radioactive frequency or something like that.
No.
Okay. That
it appears to be behaving like a large box. I think probably if you, I think you've got a decent success. So I think I will tell you that there appears to be some electronics inside it.
Yeah.
But nothing that's kind of broadcasting to the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'd like to get a decision on your next steps, and then I'd like to set up some scenes where you can spend a bit of time talking to one another or giving us more info on you. You currently, if I check the progress track, you navigate to the crux of Hyperion. You have marked 6 whole boxes. So my question is, are you aiming to make the final step as a single jump, so to speak, or are you going to end up at another waypoint?
So we roll with +6, right?
No, you would just apply +6 to a pair of d10s.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping that the challenge die roll lower than 6, I think, is that.
That's the whole point, yeah. Yeah.
No.
So you're on a kind of 50-50 on each of the die.
I mean, I'm up for trying our luck, you know? I mean, I don't know what the actual worst case scenario is if you get it wrong.
We
on a
get
miss,
lost,
well, I can
probably.
tell you, on a miss, your destination is lost to you, or you come to understand the true nature or cost of the expedition. So, you know, things aren't good, and you don't mark progress on your expeditions track or your, what do we,
So you abandon the expedition on a miss, you envision the cost of the setback and pay the price, or you return to the expedition, roll both the challenge dice, take the lowest value, and then clear that number of progress boxes, and then you raise the expedition's rank by 1, so it becomes a more significant challenge.
It does. You know, you will end up lost in space for a period of time and have to wander back.
Remembering what my friends told me about their Ironforged game, I would advocate to not take our chance with a miss, because that takes a long time to recover from. And then you get attacked by crocodiles apparently all the time. So,
so the alternative is to proceed with your expedition.
I think we can maybe go to a halfway place where we might actually get some more information about what's actually going on here, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, I feel.
Certainly feels like it.
Good thing we have a monster hunter with us.
Indeed. I want to demonstrate that it's not just Cinderwing who can pilot this thing. So I'll get one of the others to make the expedition roll in a moment, but I want to give each of you a chance to just frame a scene on board while you are making your way, on riding one of these energy waves to hopefully get closer to your destination. So, Relic, let's start with you framing a scene.
Okay. In terms of what, piloting the ship?
No, anything you like, anything that gives us some insight into you, gives us a chance to see your relationship develop to the others, anything you like. If you don't want to do it, no, doesn't, it's an offer.
I think you see Relic dressing and preparing the body of the ice miner, going through the ways of his people, you know, the final rites, and apologizing for not knowing his, and saying that the best burial that we can offer you is here among the stars, where you lived and where you died.
Oh, I love it.
And if we were playing the solo game, I would 100% swear an iron vow to take my vengeance upon the Scourge Swarm.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to say you can't.
I'm going
to make it a big one.
The same. We all swear the same iron vow, don't we? I think, and I think also my background vow of keeping Sundershard safe is basically only ends with me killing those people, right? So yeah.
Okay, and then what? You kind of wheel the gurney into the airlock and secure the gurney, and then cycle the airlock.
I think I wheel the gurney into the airlock in my spacesuit, cycle the airlock with me stood out there, and then push him out into the void and salute with the Sundershard as he drifts off into space. And, you know, the camera pans up and we just see the tiny figures against this vastness of everything.
I like that. Cinderwing's done lots of rolling, so I'll cut to Dask for framing a scene.
I think this is maybe the another time where we see the intersection between the psychic stuff and the corrupting stuff, and a kind of not necessarily religious, but ritual set of things. In that I pull out a kit that I take down to the bay where the guy died, and I go and I've got the equivalent of candles there, like beacons that actually burn, with some incense that are in there, and there are a set of like marks that I put at different points of the room, and then I pour out some like liquid into like the wash up bucket for the Roomba, and kind of watch it as it scrubs the floor with this like ritual oils. And then I go through and kind of scrape and clean up behind it. Like I do a full like hour and a half. I do, it looks like very concentrated and like focused, but I think there's a moment in the middle of when I have to stop and I like pull out my pad and I like have to scroll up and look and see what the next step is, because I clearly haven't done this a lot. But it is about like making sure that whatever corruption was here, even if it was this bio thing, like I still follow the steps to cleanse the place of maleficent influences.
And is Redeemer, I want to call it dogma, is Redeemer dogma that burning the incense protects or drives away, I mean, I want to say evil spirits, but
it's the assumption is that you've already dealt with the evil spirit. It is to make sure that there's no like taint or corruption that is left, no way for the outside to reach in again here.
love it. And finally, Cinderwing, is there something that we want to see you doing, or something about you, your relationships, anything?
I think what we see Cinderwing doing is sitting somewhere in her cabin, or maybe it's a communal cabin. It's unclear. It's pretty dark, and pulling out a book, a real book, like with pages and paper and stuff like that. So it's pretty rare, and opening the book and reading, and you can see The Ravagers. That's the title, and while she's doing that, she's humming, and the ships, these weird voices of the ship, they're humming with her, and I don't think she notices.
Can I build on that? Because this is the first time that we focused on the fact that occasionally voices, songs, sounds, is normally there's a kind of background humming, some melody. What do you do when the melody changes? Because it just did. It's become marginally more discordant.
I look up and frown. Like I hadn't noticed even that they were humming. And
because it's just the background noise. It's like the machinery almost.
Yeah, right.
It changed, and then it goes back to the normal.
Okay. I shake my head and I continue reading.
That's the first time that's happened that you've noticed, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's ask. Let's have Relic pilot the ship to the next waypoint. So Relic, this is undertake an expedition. Is this slick flying? Is this flying under the radar? Is this very kind of checking the screens for anything, any indication or anything that's amiss?
I think it's moving at speed. I think Relic wants to get the hell out of here as fast as possible. You know.
Then that is roll plus edge.
Come on. Oh, God. I forgot again. Alan, if you could roll for me. After the break, I will be on my computer. I'm
Okay.
keeping the dog that I'm sitting company for the first hour.
There we go. That is a 6 on the D6 and a 1 and a 6 on the D10. So it's 6 plus what?
2. So that's a strong hit for the
That's a
first time
strong
in a
hit.
very long time.
Honestly, on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint and progress the journey. So I will mark another 2 boxes worth. So you now have filled 8 of the Navigator the Crux. The odds are getting slightly more in your favor. I'm going to suggest that we take a break and that we define the waypoint and all of that stuff afterwards. But I think I'm going to ask, let me think. We had a derelict, which was that. I think I'm going to ask Cinderwing. I'm going to ask Sabine to define this waypoint or to roll the dice and work on that, okay?
Okay.
Just so you've got a bit of notice. And I'll see you on the hour. Okay, so you've ridden the energy wave to another waypoint. I've added down there in the sector tab somewhere, which I've now lost, but never mind. It's in there somewhere, honest. Yeah, that's interesting. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. I've got a waypoint C20 down on row 44 waiting to be filled in. And I think we agreed that this is going to, in the pattern of this, that we're going to try and run this now, it is going to be for Cinderwing to roll some dice, make some choices. And we start on page 32 of the reference guide on space sightings in the Outlands. So
I actually managed to find the page beforehand.
There you go. So do you want to roll the dice or do you want to just be inspired?
I think I want to roll the dice and be inspired.
Do both. Fine.
I mean,
so,
I would like to have something with a few people on it.
Let's see what we find. So this is you drop out and nearby is.
I think a dense nebula cloud. I'm not very interested in dense nebula clouds, to be honest. Let's switch the dice though, and we find a planet. I like planets. Planets are fun. Planet.
Okay.
And then I have to continue on page.
Well, before you do that, let's do what your sensors pick up at the edge of their range. So what is a day away in terms of travel from you?
What page would I go
It's
to?
another space sighting. It's just further away from you.
Yeah, but okay. So I just roll the space sighting again.
Yeah.
Cool. Do that. So we have a planet, and then we have 37, which is a settlement. It's a settlement.
Settlement?
Yep. Settlement.
So I suppose my question is, which of those do you want to know more about? You can maneuver to the planet and do a kind of cursory first look in a matter of hours. But it will take you a day to reach that settlement and get a first look at it.
Okay.
You're probably getting some kind of broadcast, a beacon indicating that it's a settled location, but no more than that. Okay. Which one are you interested in investigating? Or do you just want to sit in space, wait for several hours till your drives recharge, and ride the wave on?
Well, I think we would maybe like to get to some sort of settlement, as I can see that there are at least some supplies missing from my comrades. So getting to either the settlement or the planet, if we have any indication if it's settled or not.
Well, do you want to then do a first kind of surface scan, so to speak, of the planet?
Yep. Just see if there's anybody there.
Exactly. So in the first instance, then, do you want to roll this? There's where am I looking? I'm looking for planets. Yep. All the way to page 38.
38. I've got it. Ooh. I don't have to roll this, right?
You don't have to. I'm very happy for you to kind of make an inspired.
I think it's kind of a jungle world, basically, human range, so planet, which keeps its secret on a thick canopy of vegetation, but also it's green, and it looks like might be nice.
Let's roll a percentile for whether there is a settlement here.
Wait. There is a rocky world. I didn't
There
see that. I
is.
want a rocky world.
Rocky.
Yeah, it's a rocky world. It's filled with boxers. Sorry.
No, that's fine. A rocky world, a rugged planetary planet scarred by eons of destructive asteroid impacts.
Yeah.
So you're keen to know if there's any signals coming from this.
Yeah.
So let's have you roll the dice for settlements. We're on page 47 for Rocky
Yeah.
Planet, Rocky World.
Okay, let's see. Are we in Terminus, Outlands, or Expanse?
You're in Outlands.
We're in Outlands. Amazing. Rolling another D100. Getting a 29.
There is no settlement.
No. Oh, okay. That's a pity. But we know that there is a settlement way out there, so we might go there.
So there's no signal coming from that planet. So are you going to ignore it and set off to where you have some kind of sense of a settlement existing?
I would ask. I think we would talk about that, right? Do we want to go to the settlement, or I mean, I would like to actually, because I might find some supplies there.
I think your instincts are right. Yeah,
And
I'd
also,
agree.
also, they could maybe tell us if we're on the right track, actually. I mean, it seems we are. Sundershard say we are, but that can't hurt to ask for directions.
Okay, so a day passes as you travel kind of sublight, so to speak, to the signal that you're getting on this settlement, and this shifts us to settlements on page 54, and we start with location.
I muted myself so couldn't hear me. Okay, population. Okay, settlement. Does somebody else want to take this? Because I've done the planet. I feel that if someone else wants to do the settlement, so that I don't talk all the time.
I'm very happy to share this around. I'm very happy to share this around.
Somebody wants to take that?
Corbin, do you want to help define this settlement?
Absolutely.
So
I'm on page 54, it looks like.
And we're looking at location.
At location.
Planet side, orbital, or deep space.
Okay, let's roll. Find the roller. Please roll with me. 100. Let's take 62. Actually, it's 26. Let's take planet side. I like it being on the planet.
Planet side. There we go. And this is in C20. Okay. Population. You're in the Outlands column.
What
does the radio traffic reveal as you make your approach?
Let's say hundreds. That's pretty significant.
Okay. And a first look from space. We're on page 55 of the reference.
I'm actually going to pick one, I think, here. Well, I already did that. I like the idea that it is elevated or multi-level construction, that maybe we see because of the nature of the planet. Should I elaborate? Is it okay to elaborate?
Yeah, do.
Maybe we see a mountainous area that like because of whatever is in the downlands, or because wherever the landing spot is at the top of the mountains, like it's high up for easy landing and takeoff, but the city is kind of built vertically along the mountain and cliff, like with elevators and things that go up and down, and like we can see that then it looks nicer at the top than it does at the bottom. of course, but it kind of built weirdly at a steep angle.
Fine. And do you want to? You get two kind of features of a first look if you want them.
Let's see. Well, I'm just going to take obvious social stratification as the second one there, since I already kind of alluded to that.
Fine. I can't spell stratification, but we know what I mean. Okay. So we have a settlement in a steep mountainous area. Does someone want to tell me what kind of planet this is on? Just to give us a bit of context.
Is there a roll table for that?
There is. It's on page 38.
Will, do you want to roll that?
I think I'd like to just choose it if it's okay.
Fine,
Please.
go for it.
Yeah. I think I would like to choose that it is upon a furnace world.
Furnace
With
world.
relentless volcanic activity, wreathed in fire and ash.
Wow. So this thing is built on the walls of a currently inactive volcano. Gee whiz.
The biggest
What could go wrong?
I would say.
What could go wrong? And I think Relic, you're at the controls at this point. So how do you? What's your opening gambit as you kind of contact them and maybe seek permission to land, or do you just come in low and fast?
I thought you'd asked Raven that.
Oh, sorry.
No. Coming low and fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And screech,
through the ash clouds.
So we're getting that picture from the first Alien movie. We're coming in through all that kind of cloudy debris and stuff. And put down on an available pad. Just land. Fine. I'm curious what kind of welcome you're going to get. I think, let me have a look at what I can tell you about the authority here, because that may determine how friendly they are. 06 or 60. No one responds at all. I am adding lawless to the kind of authority here. There is nobody bats an eye. Just give me an idea, Relic. Where did you come in? Low, middle, or high up the structures?
I think low, because the bulk of the structure provides cover from the lightning strikes and the ionic storms that wreck this planet. So you don't want to land at the top, because the top of this structure is filled with lightning rods.
And so, in fact, the social stratification is inverted, as you might expect. So it is the poor, exposed, the poor who are up there at the top exposed. So low is high status. Okay. Now, Cinderwing, you were keen for a settlement. Why were you keen on a settlement? How are you going to go about meeting whatever motive you had for finding one?
I think one part of it was resupplying, and the other part of it was kind of getting some knowledge about how to get to the crux of Hyperion, because I feel that if they're close, they should know. We are asking for directions and buying some treats for the road. Right.
Okay.
Also, maybe stretch our legs a little. Also, I think, like, if you're from the story, if you're from the legacy culture, you like meeting new people and figuring out what they're about, and telling them stories and learning their stories, and stuff like that. And yeah.
Fine. I just rolled for initial contact and come up with in battle.
Oh, wow, okay.
So what do you do as you're, getting off the ship and probably rebreathers again, just because the atmosphere here can't be too kind all the time. And suddenly a firefight spills out of the structure onto the landing pad. Corbin, what do you do? You are muted.
I think can I see I want to move to cover and see if I can identify markers. Like, do I see gang symbols? Does it look like poor versus rich? Does it look like there are authority figures? Like, I want to get to a place so that I can assess what the F is going on.
Fine. That seems very sensible. And I guess that's gather information, isn't it?
It seems like it.
Or is it secure an advantage? You tell me.
I think I need to gather information that I can relay to the others, and they can gain an advantage.
Okay, fine. So let's have you roll with wits.
Okay. So this is with a +2.
Happily, none of the gunfire is coming your way at this point.
So that's a weak hit.
A weak hit. On a weak hit, new insight also complicates your quest in visual. Okay, +1 momentum for Corbin Darsk. It appears to be.
I'm going to take that back.
Go
on. Because if you don't spend it, it doesn't do anything. So I'm actually going to burn my momentum to make that a strong hit.
Okay, strong hit. You discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow is clear. Envision. Right. Add 2 momentum. And I will tell you that this is very obviously uniformed. And from that, you assume high status and a ragtag band of poorly equipped and ununiformed others. How does that make your way forward clear, Corbin?
I think that well, I hope it's not pirates. I think that my instinct is like, if we can, without being spotted, maybe rescue a couple of these people that are kind of falling back if they're in trouble. Like, I suggest to that because I know that Cinderwing skills lie in this area. Like this is where they're strongest. She has those shadow skills. So I'm relaying this to the others. I say, if we can get maybe 1 or 2 of these people out, rescue them, maybe we can get an in and information, and it feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah. So
I'm curious about how we'll resolve who's winning here, and I think what I want to do is to ask each of you to describe something going on, and I'm going to use the battle move to just resolve it to see which way this goes. Yeah. So what do we tell me something we see in this little montage that you're observing from behind the undercarriage? Relic, tell me something.
I think we see a man with a riot shield holding back another man with a welding torch that he's wielding like an axe.
Okay. Tell me something else we see, Cinderwing.
I think as we are standing, as we're observing, we see the better dressed people bringing out some sort of, it's not a cannon, it's a large sort of a boombox where you can launch some sonic thingies, and you see them all getting up their earphones and muffling their ears.
Fine. And finally, Corbin, tell me something else we see.
Well, I'm going to play into what I want to have happen a little bit here. I think that there is like a plume, and maybe we see between the weapon fire and the volcanic, since we're out a little bit exposed here because it's a landing pad, that there is some smoke. And I think that we see like one of the fighters like pushing a couple of younger people to like get out of here to get free and escape.
Okay, well then I'm going to make, given that you've got a very clear idea of what outcome you want here, Lowell, I'm going to go to Corbin and ask Corbin to roll, I think, with Shadow. Because it seems to me that while Iron is what the opposition are deploying, I think that our ragtag band are using a bit of subterfuge here. So roll with Shadow, and I'm using the battle move just to resolve all of this in one. That looks like 5+.
I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, sorry. So I saw a raven.
That's my previous one.
Aha.
Well, that's a strong hit.
Oh, well, on a strong hit, they achieve their objective unconditionally. And you can take 2 momentum because you are in a place now to do what you wanted to do, Corbin, which was to help these two as the other members of this ragtag band of insurgents are being rounded up, and that boombox just knocks them flat. So how do we see Cinderwing deploying? Because there is this interesting, we've not seen it in action yet, I think, shade.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, because it's drawing on esoteric energies.
Yes, it is. It is. I think I think I will offer a prayer to my ancestors and their shades, and the shade of the void that unites us in some way, and that sheltered us from the ravages. So, or scourges. Let's call them the scourges. That I like that. That sheltered us from the scourges, and I've drawn these shades, and it's kind of a prayer, kind of a little song, like a low humming, like the thing like the song from the ship. A little.
I think, given that we've had a description that there are kind of explosions of volcanic dust and gases kind of wafting across this landing pad, I think I'm going to give you the benefit as if it was darkness, because I think the way this works is you don't have to roll the action dice. It is an automatic 6 plus shadow. So you just have to roll the 2d10s and compare to 6 plus shadow.
Okay. So we don't roll you. Let's see how that goes. Well, yeah, it's a weak hit.
Unless you want to spend momentum to make it any better. I don't know what your momentum is.
My momentum is 7. I could do that to get that to a 10. Yeah, that still would be a weak hit because I can't beat a 10.
The momentum replaces the whole package. So 6 plus. Yeah, so it's not worth it. You need to. In fact, with a 10, you can't. I'm wasting your time.
No, don't worry.
So weak hit. So a weak hit in. I think this is probably. Where's it gone? Face danger using using shadow. So weak hit, you succeed, but not without a cost. What is the cost? What does this cost you?
What does this cost?
What does the cost look like? And then I'll interpret it mechanically.
Maybe it takes a lot more energy of my energy, actually, to hold the veil in place, because I'm covering these other two. And I think I take some damage to my spirit, right? Because it costs like a lot of concentration. And we have this, the characteristic, somebody overusing psychic powers, a little trickle of blood from the nostril. Just a little.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, Corbin, Cinderwing, comes out of the murk with these two people in tow. Oh, sorry, Cinderwing, go ahead.
How much damage to my spirit?
Oh, sorry, just the one, I think. Corbin, you see Cinderwing kind of emerging from the veil and the dust. She's delivered in the sense of, but what was the intention? What were you hoping to do next?
Well, we're going to get him up on the ship without being seen, but I want to look at Relic because I'm hoping that Relic will be able to assist at this point, either distraction or getting them in or something.
Thoughts, Relic?
I mean, I'm a pretty simple character. I think I'm going to join the fray, effectively.
Oh my, right. Oh
Anybody
wow.
who comes near the ship is near anyone that we're trying to help is going to, be fought off, as it were.
So yeah, I think then a couple of these uniformed guards, they've subdued most of the insurgents, and now that they're coming to you. How do you face them down, or do you let them come and fight with them?
Yeah. May I, before you go forward, may I envision that like we've gotten like they don't see the other people, but they do see us, and maybe they think we're with them, since we kind of got the success for getting the people kind of covered.
Yeah,
is that okay?
They're on the ship.
Okay.
Yeah. And we took some of these insurgents onto the ship, right?
There are 2 of the insurgents on the ship. These uniformed guys don't know that they're there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
The veil worked beautifully.
Then I think what I'm going to do is react to the imminent threats of these guards with aggression, which is what in the fudge do you think you're playing at here? We come in for a landing and you're allowing all of this? You don't have anything under control? We've had to lock down our ship. Nothing's getting on or off. You're not certain, like, you stand back.
This sounds like
you've got a bomb.
we've not used this move. It's called Compel. It's an adventure move. It's Compel. And this sounds like Threaten or Incite. Roll plus Iron.
And I am now on a different computer. So by Starforged, come on, Google, bring me to my old history. There we go. Find the dice roller. There we go. 6 2 D10s. That is a weak hit.
A weak hit. On a weak hit. So they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions, but with a demand or complication. So I think they come up short and say, okay. We just wanted to check that the insurgents hadn't got to your ship and caused any damage.
We're looking after our ship, unlike you cretins.
Oh yeah, okay. No need to get offensive. I need you to come and report to my manager, my boss, about this, because this. We didn't know you were coming. We don't know who you are, nothing. So you need to come and kind of just do the paperwork, okay? No more than that. And he puts his kind of baton away.
Yeah, fine. And I, nod over to the ship, like, I'll be right back, basically.
So Relic is going off. Corbin.
Unmute. I will go over comms. Do you want one of us to come with you?
Does someone want to come with me?
I'm asking Relic. Like Relic.
Yeah. No, Relic is. I've got this. Just make sure they're okay.
So what I'm envisaging is one person's going to go and do the paperwork. Sure, that'll be harmless. And 2 other people are going to have a conversation with a couple of rescued insurgents. Does that seem the way this is shaping up?
What do you think? Do you want to help with this, or do you want to shadow Relic? What do you think?
I think I want to hear the lowdown from these guys that I just rescued. Basically, I think Relic can probably handle some bureaucrats, and if he gets into trouble, we will rescue him eventually. Hopefully, he won't get attacked by a weird plant zombie guy again. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. Hope he'll be fine. Let's talk to these people, find out what's going on, and maybe we can be on our way before anything explodes. Volcano goes off in the distance.
And I think probably, you know, when you got them back on board, Cinderwing, you know, they get inside and they're coughing because they've just got kind of fabric masks really against you know, the fumes and the dust in the atmosphere out there. And so they kind of coughing, and then one of them looks up and says, who are you? Who are you?
We're just some humble sojourners. We saw you were in trouble and thought we might lend a hand.
What about my father?
I don't know. Was he what? Will you please enlighten us as to what's going on the station? We just landed here and we were in the middle of a fight, it seemed, and well,
it and I think well, Corbin, anything to add at this point, or shall I expound a bit?
I'm going to let Cinderwing do that while I go and get whatever we have as sort of spare oxygen canisters from the med. It's not a med bay; it's a med closet, and I'll go and get that.
Yeah. Oh, and folds down. So yeah, what emerges, you know, once Cinderwing, once Corbin comes back and they've got a chance to just take some deep breaths, is that the sort of social stratification here is incredibly marked. And you've landed at a level in the structure where a matter of a few dozen, because we've only got hundreds of people here, a few dozen what he calls magistrates live, you know, from their point of view, in enormous luxury. I mean, they've never seen it, but that's what people say. And yeah, you know, all of us up city, you know, we're living on scraps and so my father decided it was time to make a stand. But you know, the magistrates, you know, constables are just, looks like we failed. Let's cut back to Relic. Relic, I mean, we've got a picture of you in the Character Keeper. I wouldn't have described you as a particularly snappy dresser. Is that unfair?
No, that's absolutely fair. Imagine like a Viking space Viking Indiana Jones, I think is the idea.
Okay, you know, sweaty armpits and all. And what becomes apparent is that what you take to be the constables that we've heard about on the ship so far, these guards are quite snappily uniformed. You know, the little pewter buttons on their uniforms and epaulets with markings. And it all seems very formal. And indeed, when they lead you through a couple of locks, and at each point, there's a kind of a spray of gases that are there to kind of blow the debris off you. And one of them keeps looking at you as if to think, dare I present him? But leads you on through a couple of these decontamination cleaning locks, and into what is a very well constructed. It looks like you're slightly in the mountain at this point. The walls are laminated in, you know, muted colors. The lights are comfortable but not too bright, not too dim. And it looks pretty plush. And they lead you through down this corridor and into the presence of what is quite an opulent office space. And a slightly kind of severe woman is sat behind the the desk and says, "I am Junior Magistrate Ixona. Why are you here?"
We came here to resupply from on our way to the crux of Hyperion, carrying valuable cargo. We thought this was a reputable location. We thought this was, well, we thought it was anything but what we observed.
I have to tell you that we've not named this place, have we? I have to tell you that the Elevation is a most reputable location. We provide, we have surplus energy that we are very, very happy to trade with you. When you say valuable cargo, please describe, and she pulls a pad out and begins to make a note on the pad of, please describe your cargo.
Well, our cargo is is a confidential packet from the Jackals. Corvaris 5.
I've added Ixona, the Junior Magistrate, to the NPC tab. The Jackals are neither friend nor foe of the Elevation. I'm much more interested in what if that is all you have as cargo. What have you to trade?
Well, we have some resources. I don't know how many works in this game now that I think about it.
Well, there's kind of supply.
Yeah, we have supplies of our own. We have expertise. We have a ship, which you need in any transport of your own.
If you could provide me with details of your surplus supplies, then I might be able to come to some agreement with you.
Well, if you could give me a list of your available resupply, then I'm sure we can come to some sort of arrangement.
Captain, I will remind you that you are a guest here. I would hope that a guest would observe local custom. Please provide me with a manifest. Let's cut back to Dusk and Cinderwing. Where has the conversation got between you and these? Corbin, you've not spoken about them yet. What are you making of this?
I think I'm checking them for wounds. I'm brewing up reclamator tea, which it may be okay, but something to wash the taste of the ashes out of their mouth. And I will say, is this like a widespread uprising, or is this just a small scale thing right now?
Well, it's all about my father's efforts. You know, he's sick and tired of what's going on, and the people are ground down by what's going on. You know, we're just a resource to these people. The magistrates give us nothing. We get, you know, we get slops. We get little, you know, just we live on cubes of nutrient. I mean, it's just slop. And they live in the lap of luxury. That's not fair.
It isn't.
And the other guy chips in and says, "Yeah, that's what your father would say. This isn't fair."
So the others may have other things to offer. We're a crew of 3. I'll tell you 2 things that I know that we can do right now for you. We rescued you from getting rounded up, and God knows what would have happened to you. We can help you get back to your homes safely without being detected. Or you can come with us.
But what about my father? They took my father away.
I've given you 2 options. There may be others, but I'm putting that on the table right now.
This is
Think about it, drink your tea, and shut your mouth.
Cinderwing?
Yeah, I will pull Corbin Raven aside just for a quick chat about what we're going to do about them. I think it was mostly your idea to get them out there in here. So I mean, you can take them with us, sure, but they have no resources of their own. It's not going to go well for them out there, you know. Or do you want us to go and rescue their father and see if we can foment a little?
I say that is for me not what I want. I want to do what we can here without endangering us.
I think we're beyond that point, actually.
No. I mean, really getting us into the mix of this thing. I think there's a difference here. If they want to go back home, we'll help them get back home. I am cool with that. If they want to go with us, like, I'll split off some of my share to pull them in if they want to stay on as crew, or if they want to look for better opportunities when we arrive.
They can help us look for whatever her name was, his brother, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if they want to do that, I am fine taking one or both of them.
Okay.
But I think some of this is going to depend on what Relic tells us about how dangerous it is with these people. But I'll admit they're my responsibility. I said for us to grab them and bring them here. I understand that.
I agree to that, Raven.
Okay.
I just didn't want you to say, "Oh no, this is not my decision. This is all of our decisions." I'm fine with helping them out. Good. I might be fine even with doing more. This is one of the places I used to go to. This is one of the places where they took advantage of my people. So
that's outside of my experience. Like overthrows and revolutions and all of that stuff is not
it's not mine either, but I've heard stories about that. I mean, I've never fomented a rebellion or anything like that.
Maybe Relic has. Maybe Relic has a firebrand and we didn't know about it.
Which is the segue back to Relic, isn't it? Relic, do you want to carry on the conversation with Ixona, or is that run its course, or we got the flavor of the bargaining positions and you need to report back to the crew? What's your thinking?
We've got a flavor of the bargaining positions. I think I'll say, well, I'll take it back to my captain to discuss. I'm sure we'll provide you with.
You're not the captain.
No.
Take him back to his ship. Bring me the captain. And to get staff to attention. Come this way, please.
Sure thing. As we go. So I'd like to gather some information myself.
I think you might. Let's have you roll to gather information. Roll plus wits, or assess a situation, secure an advantage. The advantage of secure advantage is that depending on how you do it, you might engage a different attribute. I'm not sure all of them would be relevant, but I'm curious.
Yeah. I would like to I think it's the same one for either, because what I'd like to do is I'm trying to think of a fictional positioning for me to find out about these imprisoned firebrands who are locked away. This father, I believe it was.
Yes. So I think roll with wits to gather information, or is this through observation with wits, or by trying to get something through deception out of the guards, which would be with shadow?
Yes, I think I got a 1 in both, to be fair. So
Well,
yeah,
which
one in both.
approach do you want to take?
Little difference. I think this is with shadow. Perhaps it is it's tricking the guards into discussing openly about this rabble that they put down in the
Giving something away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, then roll with shadow as what kind of phrase? How does this look in screen on the screen?
This looks like Relic saying, "Oh, you know, well, you made short work of that rabble. You leave any of them alive?"
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. You know, we always subdue, not kill. It's all about, you know, because they have work quotas to fulfill, and they, you know, so we can't afford to lose labor.
Well, they've got to learn their place, right?
Yeah, too true, too true. I didn't
I
scrape my way all the way up to this just to have somebody just roll in and take it all from me.
I wish if only I could be the person to roll it and take it all from him. That would be my deep-seated wish.
So roll plus shadow.
I have, and sadly, it was a 4 versus 2 10s.
Oh my goodness me! So a miss with, and I think that he sees you looking intently down a corridor where you can see the insurgents being showing too much interest in where those insurgents are being strip searched and hosed down. And he says, hang on. No, you come with me. And he shepherds you towards those insurgents. I knew I didn't like the look of you, and they've both drawn their batons.
Well, you're going to like this even less.
What happens?
I'm going to enter the fray.
Fine. Well, I think they're gonna, because you have to pay a price on that one. I'm gonna take 2 of your health away before you start, just as they set about you with batons while you draw the Sundershard.
Okay, I was going to suggest maybe taking some spirit from seeing just how ground down the people of this station are in this penury. But
I think they just set about you. Let's keep it
yeah,
simple
yeah,
at
yeah.
this point.
He cracks me right in the back of the head with the baton as he says, I knew I didn't like you." As I pick myself back up again, I'm like, "Well, shink, anime sword withdrawn." You know.
And anything coming on over comms? I'm just curious.
Hey, tell us when you're almost back.
I knew I didn't like you. Well, you're gonna like this.
Oh shit.
Cinderwing?
Raven, maybe you stay, guard the ship and these 2 people, and I sneak out and see if I can help our friend out of a tricky situation.
I think you're better equipped to sneak over there than I am.
Yeah, and please take good care of my ship.
I will.
The way I imagine doing this is that you sneak off, and we'll see at what point it makes sense for you to arrive, and we'll know that we'll roll then to see how well that goes. But Relic, yeah, let's have you enter the fray. Adventure and combat. Enter the fray. This sounded like in the thick of it at close quarters. Roll plus iron.
Have sword. Everything looks like something to stab, right? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow. That is a 1 versus 2 9s. I don't know what your momentum is like at this point.
Well, apparently just 2, because I don't never seem to gain any momentum on anything.
So enter the fray. That is a miss. You are in a bad spot. You're in a very bad spot. I'm going to give you -1 on the next roll, I think, because that is these guys are tougher than they look, and they are laying about you like Billy-O. And I think Corbin
deploy their energy shields at the same time.
And I think that Corbin, you know, over the comms, you hear this as you know, bang, bang, bang. We'll let this run another round before Cinderwing can intervene. But I think probably the other way this gets worse, Relic, is that 2 of the guards who were hosing down the insurgents, run towards to join the fray to help the others subdue you. Reducing the number of people watching the insurgents. Yeah. So this is, I think, react under fire or clash. Do you, in a bad spot, take action in a fight to avoid danger or overcome an obstacle? Or just try to fight them back?
Oh, well, I always fight back in a bad spot. Fight back against a foe at close quarters.
Roll plus iron. Clash.
Oh, that's more like it. Strong hit.
Well, I mean, from one and a pair of nines to three and a pair of ones, how more different could it go? So on a strong hit, mark progress twice. I'm just going to do that on a clock for these guys. I'm not going to make it tough. So far, it's a clock with 4 on it. I'm going to mark 2. One I'd mark 2 for the strong hit. And you are in control.
Yeah, I think I smash straight. That energy shield comes up, and they're like doing the Roman centurion style, right? And they've got me boxed in. Like the 4 of them are joining all around me, right? And I just, like close my eyes for a second, listen to the blade, and then just like spin and strike at the perfect moment to shatter one of those shields into pieces, sending that guy flying back into the other one. And I step on top of him as I turn around to the others.
Fine. I am deliberately not mentioning that if you mark fugitive, you can improve your outcomes.
I'm just doing it for this one session. I thought I would roll failures.
Okay, because the dice room is not treating you well today. Cinderwing, let's have you roll your shade move to wrap the veil of the void around you. So we've got I've got some idea of what situation you're in when you arrive. I think this is probably about you arriving, securing an advantage for when you arrive.
Yeah, sounds fair.
So it's brightly lit in here, so I'm not going to give you the 6, I'm going to give you the 5. So you've got a 5 in hand, plus shadow.
Plus shadow.
Versus whatever your D10 show.
Let's see what my it's a weak hit again. But it's a weak hit.
Okay, on a hit, you succeed. You have to choose one. Do you take +2 momentum or +1 on your next roll?
I think I already have a lot of momentum. I think I'm fine with momentum. I'm taking +1 on my next roll.
Fine. So what are you telling Corbin at this point? Because you are now able to see this. They don't see you coming. Are you reporting back to Corbin?
I'll just whisper like, "Oh, Relic's on the loose now." Oh no, I think they've rolled up Relic now. And then I will move to the guys that were hosed down, because
I'm gonna hit the preliminary warm up on the engines.
Yeah, good idea. Good call.
Cinderwing, I'm going to go to Relic first, but I want to know what you're intending to do, given the setup.
There are these people that aren't guarded right now, so maybe I can snatch some weapon that is lying around after Relic's attack and give them one of these people that look kind of fighty.
Everyone knows that the best way to overthrow a tyrannical regime is to all get captured by the tyrannical regime and then break out of their cells, right? Like, it can't fail. It's never the worst thing you could do. But
aren't you kind of small for someone wrapped in the veil?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I'm just looking at my Blademaster move.
Oh, go on.
On a strong hit with a match, I am unstoppable. Mark progress. On top of what I mark progress from.
Right. Then that will take all 4 of them down. That leaves 2 of them with the insurgents down in that room. And Cinderwing, I'm going to give you the observation because I think Relic is busy in the zone. You see him take down the 4 guards, but you also see down the corridor behind him the 2 guards that are left down there with the insurgents. one of them is flicking on a wall comm and saying, we got a problem
Can
down
I-
here.
can
We've got
I
another
s-
group of insurgents.
can
It
I-
looks like it was a setup.
Can I stop him before that happens?
You've got
or
+1 advantage.
Oh, yeah.
I am very happy for you to try to do that.
Okay.
I think this is I think there's a level of threat here.
Yeah.
Because if this goes badly, I think I'll have you pay a physical price.
Yes,
So
that's
I
fine.
think this is face danger
Yep.
to get there. But you've got the +1 on the roll as well as, and I'm assuming this is with Shadow.
Yes, this is with Shadow. Absolutely.
And I'm going to continue to let you use that fixed 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've got 5 +1 is
Okay.
6 against whatever the 2d10 show you.
Okay. Plus my Shadow, right?
Plus your Shadow. Yeah. Sorry.
See how that goes. Yes, finally. It's a strong hit.
Strong hit. On a strong hit, you were successful. Take 1 momentum, and as he's going to depress the thing, the kind of button that allows him to speak. How do you stop him?
Oh, I turn up beside him because I have to, and I put my blade next to his neck.
And the button is depressed, and the
and
green
I
light
s-
goes on,
And I say, stop this right now.
and out of the loudspeaker comes, yeah, what is it?
Tell him it's fine. Tell him it's fine.
No, nothing. Sorry. It's fine.
Well done.
Relic. 4 bodies. And I think probably Junior Magistrate Ixona emerges from her office some distance up another corridor. To what's the fuss about? And she looks at you, sees the bodies, and draws a gun. What do you do?
I mean, there's only one response, isn't there? Charge, yeah. I think what I do, in fact, is roll, come up holding one of those riot shields that I took out of their hands, and now I'm charging down the corridor with the blade behind me, the shield up in one arm. They don't fancy my odds at dodging it, and I'm not a Jedi.
Cinderwing, you've got one guard with your knife at his throat. There is another guard there looking at you and trying to keep his eyes on you and on a handful of insurgents who are stripped naked and sopping wet. But he doesn't know which way to look.
That's good.
And that's when he runs.
And I look at the insurgents and say, aren't you going to stop him?
I think he's gone. They're going to try and get out.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's about escape for them at this point because they're stark naked.
Maybe we will try to stop them from running away, which will just lead to them being captured again. So,
okay, then let's have you persuade, threaten, compel. What are we in the business of doing here?
Rally. Yeah, rally, but I'm not good at rallying. I'm good at lying, though. So I will tell them that, hey, if you run, you will be caught. They are just waiting for you. You have one way to end this, and this is the only one, and that's go down there and take down the magistrates. It's the only option you have. Take the weapons that lie around here. If you're inside, they're weak here.
And they're pulling on their clothes and picking up weapons as long as that compel roll goes well.
Yeah, let's see how that compel roll. I'm trying to.
I think the veil is gone now.
Yeah, the veil is gone. Everybody can see me. I can comment. Can I roll this? But I'm trying to trick them into charging because they might have a chance at escape. I don't know anything, but I want them to
roll plus shadow. How convincing is your lie?
Yeah, let's see how that goes. Come on. Relic revolutions. Well, yeah, there's this. It's a weak hit, I think, because I can't do anything about that damn 10.
No, you're rolling a lot of 10s and a lot of 1s tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still a weak hit with my shadow, so.
Fine. So they'll do what you want, but there's a demand or complication. I think the demand is common sense kicks in here. They were on a raid to get supplies. 6 of them weren't expecting to take down the magistracy. And so I think the demand is, we can't take out the magistrates without help. Will you help us?
I'm looking to Relic now.
Relic is charging at a junior magistrate.
Well, that seems fine. That's kind of convincing. I will say, Raven, I'm sorry this has gotten a little out of hand. We are apparently leading a revolution right now.
Raven, what are you thinking? Are you offering the crew any advice at this point? Or going to join them?
Here is what I would like to do, actually, is I want to see if I can pick up anything like comms-wise to like provide like info and observation to them through their comms. Essentially, I want to use the tools that we have at hand to assist them.
I'm going to treat this as check your gear, because I think this is, we know that you've got sensors that operate in deep space. I think the question is, do you have any kind of tactical comms or countermeasures at work? So check your gear, roll plus supply.
So that is a weak hit.
A weak hit. You have it, but must choose. Your supply is diminished, sacrifice 1. It's not quite right and causes a complication or delay, lose 2 momentum. What's your preference?
Easy come, easy go on that momentum.
Okay, so you're kind of having to jury rig this, I think, to try and reorientate your sensor disk to scan the buildings, the structure, and see what you can pick up. So I will come back to you.
So basically, I'm sitting back with an aid your ally when somebody needs it, is what I'm doing right now.
I did wonder whether you were moving for that fictional positioning. Yeah. Relic, you're charging.
Do you want to? It is 4.
Oh, it is.
Is on the hour? Should we take our 5-minute break here?
Let's take 5 now. I tell you what, come back at 10 past the hour.
Okay.
So we're back with Relic charging on the corridor to Junior Magistrate Exona, who ducks back inside the door and then comes out and pops up and takes a shot. So I think we'll start with determining whether you are on the front foot or the back foot. Enter the fray, Relic. This sounds like on the move, roll plus edge.
Yeah, I think the framing of it has to be on the move, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're not yet at close quarters.
No. Well, that's a typical result for me, a 1, and then a 7 and a 5.
So that is a miss, I'm guessing. The fight begins with you in a bad spot, and the bad spot is that's the point at which the battery on the shield sputters out. And she takes a shot. I think you're going to have to react under fire because you're not yet in contact. She's got a chance to.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you were in a bad spot and take action in a fight to avoid danger or overcome an obstacle, the distance between you and her, fleeing, dodging, getting back into position, taking cover. Which one of those options do you think works for you?
Blocking or diverting with force or taking the hit.
Taking the hit, roll plus iron.
That is a weak hit.
Which is a huge improvement on a lot of what's happened tonight.
It's a huge improvement, yes. On a weak hit, I avoid the worst of the danger or overcome the obstacle, but not without a cost. I stay in a bad spot.
Corbin, before we do this,
because I want a strong hit.
Yeah, I'd like a strong hit.
Then I'm going to try to say, essentially shout as she draws it, duck left, duck left.
As a slightly sputtery hijacking of their internal video appears on one of the ship screens.
So I will roll for that. So that is a weak hit on the aid, the ally, so he gets it, but I don't get any big bonus.
Okay. So if so, no, run me through that move.
Okay. So right now, I've got I do aid your ally. So I do secure an advantage.
Fine. Yeah.
It's a weak hit, so I'd pick one. So I give him +1 on his move.
Fine. Does that make enough difference, Relic?
It does.
Turns a weak into a strong hit?
It does indeed, yes.
Fine. So a strong hit on react under fire is you succeed and are in control, take +1 momentum, and you dive. You dive? You follow the instructions, just automatically dive. A bunch of bullet holes appear in the wall above you, and you will be in contact next.
Dive to the left, roll up, and then swat aside the last shot with the blade. Like at point blank range now, right? But she just get one shot off that hits me, but I clang it aside with the blade and it ricochets off down the corridor.
So Cinderwing, the deal here is they can't overthrow the magistracy alone. They came on a raid for supplies.
Well, I mean, look at what... this is not even lying. I'm just pointing at Relic. What more do you need?
And they look to you, and
this is your chance. You never get a better one.
Then lead the way.
He's done this 1,000 times.
And he looks at you. You're the person who's convinced them. You've lied to them, but you've convinced them.
Yep.
And he says, "If you lead us, we'll follow."
No, what? Okay, I can lead you. Come on, I've done this 1,000 times.
And meanwhile, one of them is tinkering with the comms.
Mm-hmm.
And begins to press it in a kind of Morse code.
Yeah.
Communicating up station, so to speak. In the hope that this will cause general uprising.
I will call to Corbin Dars and say, "Hey, you are a good people person, aren't you?"
Yes.
And you have 2 people from up city on our ship. So I mean, this is going to be a revolution right now.
All right.
We can write this.
I know what's coming. Let me patch into the comms and let me get my best rousing speech together.
That's what I was hoping for. And don't forget that I've done this 1,000 times, and so has Relic.
So Cinderwing is leading a small body, a ragtag band of insurgents. Relic is about to confront Junior Magistrate Ixona, and Corbin Darsk is about to go full propagandist. So I'm kind of curious what the full propagandist looks like. So I'm going to come back to you for that one in a moment. But Relic, I think you are up close and personal with Ixona. If you stay on the front foot, you will get to her before she slams the door in your face. So let's have you have control. Is this gain ground or strike?
I don't know what my progress is here. I don't think I've marked any progress, have I, in this fight?
Not yet. No. What I've said is that you have reached her. The question is, if this goes well, if you stay on the front foot, then she won't manage to slam that door in your face.
Strike, 100%.
Strike.
Yes.
Do that thing. Roll plus iron.
Hey, that's another dice roll in my books. A 6 and a 10. So that's 5. Despite my strongest stat, that's a 5 versus a 6 and a 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is desperate. The door slams shut and you hear bolts engaging. Unless you want to press the fugitive button.
Yeah, I do. I think, given the sheer number of times I've rolled a miss, I think a complete miss this session, I'm going to roll I'm going to indulge.
And what is the fact that she's slamming the door in your face? What does it look like when what looks to be a total failure turns into a success?
Well, she slams the door in my face, right? And, the camera cuts to the inside of it as she backs away and just goes, I'd like to see you get through that now, rebel. As it just cuts straight through the door. Right?
You're in the room with Ixona. Cinderwing, you are leading these insurgents where?
Yeah, good question. I have no idea where I am, what I'm doing here, but it's fine. Huh? What? Armory, that's a good point. Yeah, let's go to the I have this guy at my daggers point, right? And I'm saying, look, friend here, this is going to be a full shape revolution. Do you want to end up the wall or do you want to ride the wave here? I mean, you're just a paid goon, right?
I think this is compel again. That sounded like threaten to me.
Yep.
Roll plus iron.
It's not my strong suit either.
But it's a no-brainer in the situation, isn't it?
Well,
I am going to give you +1 because you have a knife to his throat.
Yep. Okay, I will take that. And dice roller. You hate us, right? So we're playing Vampire the Masquerade. Yep, worked like a charm. I mean, not like a charm, but it worked. It's a weak hit. It wasn't a 10. It wasn't a 10.
A weak
hit. It rolled a lot of ones, so talking to the dice, threatening the dice roller works.
Okay, so he will, but he looks at the insurgent. He says, you have to remember what I've done, okay? And they nod and smile. Whether they will remains to be seen.
And I look at them and I say, I mean, this guy actually worked for us the whole time,
Corbin, what are we seeing back on the ship now?
Give me some names of people, organizations right now. Quick.
Yeah, and he gives you a kind of handful of names. Yeah, my father's friend, and
get me down to I want to get to their comms, since we're already kind of in their system, and I want to broadcast to the lower levels. The time is now. The day has come. Now rise up and unshackle yourselves. And I call out names and say, join with your brethren who've already begun the fight to free themselves from the tyranny of the elevation, and the magistrates.
This sounds like you're inciting a revolution to me.
It wasn't what I was planning, and in fact, I think I spoke against this earlier, and yet that tide has turned.
Here you are. So that's roll plus iron.
Roll plus iron. Okay. Not heart?
No, because that's charm.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I think you're actually inciting a revolution.
Yeah. Let me look here if there's anything that I can bring to bear on this. So let's roll with a +2. So that is a weak hit.
So on a weak hit, as above, +1 momentum, a demand or complication in vision. I think the complication is that, yes, it's beginning to take home. No one is quite certain whether they believe it. And I think I'd envisaged you running this revolution, Corbin, because the other two are engaged more up close and personal. So I think you're going to roll for battle shortly.
Okay.
But I think you're going to roll at -1 because that checks out. Yeah. I guess exactly, but underneath all that rousing speech, there's the kind of, did you sense any doubt in what he said?
Oh my gosh.
So Relic, you've got Ixona at sword point. Cinderwing, you are leading them to the armory. Relic, what do you do?
Relic having Ixona at sword point. I think this is the point to take decisive action almost, right?
I think it is. I think it is.
To hold the blade to her throat and say, somewhere in here there's got to be the button that unlocks security controls, frees the prisoners, and opens up the armory. And somewhere in here there might even be the brave magistrate who helped the revolution.
I think the way I've been keeping a kind of rough count. So there are 4 guards on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You succeeded in getting up close and personal with her. She is at dagger point, which gives you another 2. So I'm going to treat this as 7 on the progress track.
Well, that's good because that's higher than any dice I've rolled tonight.
So roll 2 d10s. You are hoping that they are going to be 6 or less.
And of course, they're 10 and an 8.
Oh, shit. Well, that at the moment is looking like a miss.
Uh-huh.
But I suppose I'm curious whether you want to press the fugitive button.
I mean,
Stolen car.
yeah, it's more just am I interested in the result of failure here. I don't think it's I am defeated. I think it is that my objective is lost. My objective is to help the others. Yeah, I think the only things I can think of in terms of framing that the objective is lost is maybe a bit too bleak and would undercut what the other characters have been doing in the same time, such as like exposing the cells to lava flow or something,
No, well, I mean, I don't think it's any as gross as that. I mean, what you were hoping for here was a big button that said unlock all the things that are locked.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out there isn't a button here. And all the threatening in the world doesn't deliver that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the objective of opening the armory, of freeing the prisoners, is not achieved. I think maybe that is a cost to spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay a price on spirit, one down to spirit, because it seems to me that that was the golden ticket, and it just wasn't there. Cinderwing, can you get into the armory?
Okay. Can we get? I mean, there were guards with weapons on the floor, so these guys have at least.
You've got half a dozen guys with kind of stun batons and
that's
stuff
fine.
like that.
They can keep the guard honest. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
And then I will run towards the armory, and I hope there's a guard there. And then I will try to talk to him into opening up the armory. The revolution is coming. You have to arm your brothers.
Does this sound like secure an advantage?
Yeah. Probably.
And what are you promising him anything, or are you threatening him?
I'm trying to get him to open it for his brothers. They need the weapons because the revolution is. Of course, I'm deceiving him.
Okay, roll plus shadow on secure an advantage.
Yeah, and I think they can. The prisoners can come up behind me at a slight distance and look threatening. So just
with a guard in tow who say,
just
do what they say, do what they say.
Just to explain, there's actually a revolution coming. This is not just some crazy girl running around and talking stuff. So I'm rolling for the guard to open the armory. So, dice roller, remember, this is Vampire the Masquerade. You hate us. Well, yeah.
They do hate you.
They do hate me.
That's a
Um,
3 versus
yeah.
a pair of 8s.
Yeah, and I've got a 7 of momentum, but that doesn't help me. It's a 6 versus a pair of 8s. But still.
Not only does he not have the codes, because
Oh,
they're with his officer, but his officer with
damn.
half a dozen more guards comes steaming around the corner.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because before Relic could subdue
Mhm.
Oksana, Exona, she sent a kind of danger, danger.
Okay.
Corbin, this kind of comes down to you now, because the question is, can you get enough of the people to actually make a difference and draw off the problems that Relic and Cinderwing are beginning to encounter? Oh, you are muted.
So that's that battle roll you were talking about just
When
a
you
moment
fight
ago.
a battle and it happens in a blur, your objective is to overthrow the magistracy, I think.
Yep.
What do we see? I mean, we're talking about them rather than you personally.
I think I'm calling out to where they need to go. Corridor X7 now, guards there. And as we see them rushing up, we get a very Fritz Lang metropolis, people in overalls
Screaming.
coming running up and pushing through the doors, shots of that.
That sounds like careful tactics to outsmart your foe. Roll plus wits.
Okay. So let's see. That will be a weak hit.
So you achieve your objective, but not without cost. You are getting some pictures from inside. And you can see that weight of numbers means that the Proles are going to win. As people in the mines turn on their overseers with axes and pickaxes, and people in the manufacturing floors just turn on their overseers. But the cost is high in life. How does that affect you, Corbin?
I think to use a mechanical term and a real term, I think I'm shaken.
Fine. So that sounds like we're on our way to shaken via spirit. Yeah?
Yeah.
So how's spirit looking at the moment?
It's at the top right now. I was in good shape.
Well, you don't. How should we do this? I tell you what. I think it's going to cost you 2 spirit.
That makes sense. Like I'm getting exhausted by this. That makes sense.
But then there is an option on the suffer, isn't there? When you if your spirit is 0, lose momentum. Then no. So it's only when your spirit gets to 0 do we get down into shaken.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm on that particular death spiral.
Yes. Fine. We know that they're going to win. What I'm inclined to do is to have, as well as this kind of revolution where hundreds of people are revolting against maybe 100 overseers and magistrates, Cinderwing and Relic, I think each of you gets embroiled in the battle. And I'm inclined to just have you describe what it's like for you, what your role is, and then we'll have each of you roll the battle move. Yeah? Because I think it's quite a neat move, actually. So let's start with Cinderwing. What do we see of Cinderwing as the revolution takes form?
Let me just check my options here, right?
So fight at range, fight depending on our courage, leadership, or companions.
Your speed and the environment. I think I would like to fight at range and use my speed and environment to my advantage, maybe. Or of course, using trickery to befuddle my foe. That seems actually something that is actually doable in the midst of battle, right?
So what does that look like?
I think it looks like that I'm drawing the shadow veil a couple of times and just appear in the middle of people, tell them all is lost, run, run, we are doomed, stuff like that, and just try to get them to lose heart, to yeah,
I
confuse
like
their
that. Roll plus
communications.
shadow.
Yeah. Hey, that's Prole. You love us. Please give me a withdrawal, okay? Just the one. Yeah, that works. It's a strong hit.
Strong hit. On a strong hit, you achieve your objectives unconditionally. You and your allies who join the battle may take +2 momentum. Relic, what do we see of you? You know, Darsk is out there coordinating stuff. Cinderwing is flitting from place to place. What's Relic doing in the thick of this? I'm
Do I get to
assuming.
take 2 momentum from Cinderwing's roll just then? You and your allies take 2 momentum.
Yes. Do.
Because
I
I
think
never roll high enough to get any momentum.
No, it would be nice to give you
That's
you to
fine.
have something come out of the session. Go ahead. So
Yeah.
yeah, do. So what do we see?
You know, I think it is by depending on the courage, leadership, or companions. I don't think it is me, soloing like the next bastion of guards. I think it is leading these people in a, relying on the strength in numbers. They've got a sword. We've all got swords. To quote Aladdin.
I have the power of Castle Grayskull. Go for it. Roll plus heart. Then courage, leadership, and companions.
Which is a strong hit. Finally.
Well, what do you know? A strong hit. On a strong hit, you achieve your objectives. Additionally, you and any allies who join the battle may take +2 momentum. So you and Cinderwing are in there. I'm going to give Corbin Darsk a couple of momentum because it just seems to me that he ought to get the benefit of one of those rolls as the eminence grise behind the rebellion. And I think that we're now in the aftermath. So, Corbin, I'm going to ask you because, you are the voice of the rebellion after all. What does the aftermath look like? Just frame me something to give a sense of what the elevation is now like.
I think that there is, we can see that there's smoke rising from several levels that are a different color from the volcanic smoke. I think we see people mourning the dead, but there are also people, clutching each other in celebration, but it's not triumphal celebration. It's like this has been at a cost. And I think that, and I'm going to be really dark here for a moment. I think that I'm standing there and that young woman that we rescued, I think I'm behind her as we're pulling the sheet over her father.
Yes.
And I think I'm saying to her, the offer is still open. You can still come with us.
I need to do what my father would have wanted to do. We need to make this place better. Relic, what about you in the aftermath? Paint me a bit of a picture.
I think what we see is the Magistrates. That was a title, wasn't it? It was Magistrate, yeah. I think the Magistrate in her own chains, being led off with the security cronies and everything to a holding cell. And I pass over. I punch some numbers into a thing, and I say, the jackals are always looking for a resupply station, and I'm sure they'll take these clowns off your hands too.
Like that. Cinderwing, what about you?
I think I think I smelled to the shadows, actually, listening to people, listening to the stories they tell each other about this revolution, this battle, and just gathering all that in. That is kind of my payment. And if I find anything valuable that might also constitute payment, I might not be above taking that with me. But it's not my primary motivation. My primary motivation is just to listen to people and their stories.
Because I guess what we could do is we could have a quick round of Sojourn now, or we could take that as episode end and start with a Sojourn at the Elevation next time. I'm open, either way.
I'd quite like to do a Sojourn now, I think.
It would seem to be a kind of nice wrap up, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Given that it was Cinderwing's description of stuff that made it sound Sojourn-y, I think I'm going to go to Cinderwing to make the Sojourn roll. When you spend time recovering within a community, roll plus heart.
Heart?
Yes.
I'm just lurking about.
Okay. Do you want to hand that off to somebody else?
Yes, I would like to hand that off to our brave leader who has inspired the community to such great deeds.
Relic, what are you?
No, Relic is Cinderwing says that, and that's when Relic's hand falls on Corbin Darsk's shoulder and says, "The voice of the people must speak."
Roll plus heart, Corbin Darsk.
I think he's got the worst heart. No, he's actually got the best
heart.
No,
he's very kind of solid.
Yeah.
All right. Let's burn that momentum and make a strong hit.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes, burn it momentum, make it a strong hit. This is a safe refuge. You and your allies may each choose 2 recover moves, heal, heart, and repair, or resupply. Instead of rolling, assume an automatic hit for each. An individual move can be taken more than... Hang on. Instead of rolling, assume an automatic strong hit for each. Goodness me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's some bonuses if you do it on Sojourn as well.
Yeah. Wow. Fine. Let's start with Corbin. Heal, hearten, resupply, repair. What are you thinking?
So I resupply to get my supply back up to 5, back up.
Okay.
And the only other thing I'm down, hearten, repair, resupply. Here.
These people
How do you
can't
make a
do
new
too
contact?
Say again?
How do you make a new contact or a new friend?
We would make what we can do is define a connection here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a separate thing because it doesn't fall under any of the thing, but that is something I would like to do, is us to establish.
Absolutely. My assumption would be that we do that. Maybe someone waves you off at the start of the next session. I don't know if we haven't got time now, but we might.
Right. But yeah, I'll take my spirit back up to 5.
You get 2. Each
supply 2. And spirit.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah.
Yep.
Fine. Okay. What about Relic? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking threshold and recover is what we're looking at, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am. I did take a few hits, didn't I? Then
you did. Those ones were not without cost.
Yeah, I received treatment from someone. I think I received treatment from the woman whose father died. Patches me up.
Fine.
So roll plus.
No, you'd have to roll. It's an automatic strong hit.
Oh, is it?
The joy of such a wonderful Sojourn roll. So the care is helpful if you or the ally under your care are wounded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a real big change instead of a weak hit is where you roll, right? And then a
Yeah.
strong. Wow, that's incredible. We need to get Raven to roll Sojourn on it every single time, clearly. Yeah, cool.
So,
So yeah,
+2 to health.
Yeah, +2 to health. As yeah, and I go, there's something about the spray here. It's just not quite as stingy as what we have on the ship.
And is there anything, because you've got 2?
Mm-hmm. I will resupply as well, I guess. I think
Okay.
that's right. Blah, blah, blah. On a strong hit, choose one.
It's the otherwise take +2 supply, I think, in that bullet point under strong hit.
Okay, I was just reading it through to see if there
Oh,
was
I
any
see.
to
Yeah.
take as well as a resource, right? But clearly not. So there we go. I will resupply as I think someone passes a bundle of things into our hands and says, we can't spare much, but we owe you everything.
Oh, it is the widow's mite, as crates of stuff are being wheeled onto the ship. You can see them stripping the magistrates' supplies. Cinderwing, what about you?
I think I need to hearten a bit.
Okay.
And what I think is that despite the fact that I'm lurking around, I get pulled into a celebration because some people will celebrate this, right? And that kind of takes me out of my usually not really super happy mood, and just like, yeah, I mean, we did this. That's when I realized that that was actually a good thing that we might have done. Wow, and that has been a bit since that happened. So I think I will take back my spirit up to 5. And the other one thing, I think I will. I mean, I don't have anything else that I need to do, but maybe I just want to take that plus. Oh, I could resupply and take +1 momentum, but I am at 9.
Well, 10 is better than 9
It's true.
by a whole 1.
My whole 1, yeah. If I am in need of a specific item or resource that can be reasonably obtained. Okay, yeah, and the resource I need is I need stories. That's what I need. And also no, what I need is actually I need directions. That's why we came here, right? I need directions, and I will take them from people.
So you're working through the through the magistrates kind of records to see if you can find the best place.
I will, yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather talk to people or listen to people tell me stories about how they got there, because they have to be people that came from there, right? Here, and yeah, I'd prefer that.
Fine. And that is our sojourn done. We will set off next time on Starforged, the pilot, to somewhere else. Maybe you might want to make a jump to the final location. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a perfect place to stop. I think we will make sure that you leave here with a contact in place, a connection in place. So don't let me forget that at the start of next time. And there might be something else that I want to do in terms of a bit of filling in some gaps. But now I would like, if possible, do a quick stars and wishes. So let me start in the order I can see you. Lowell, any stars, any wishes?
I really enjoyed that. Like I seriously really enjoyed that. Like we had that nice scene at the start that added some questions and deepened what was going on. It tied things together. It tied Relic's deal together tangentially to Cinderwings. Really good. Like that was fun. And having some scenes on board ship was good. And so that felt like a great block. And then the whole thing with the later half kind of illustrated, like, when you kind of just come up with some stuff, this is what PBTA and this does really well. Like we envisioned a really interesting scenario out of that. You gave us some stuff. We built on that. in a way, and I felt like this is where it gets to being like a PBTA game. Like that's what PBTA does best. Now that we kind of know where the rules are at, and I felt like you seemed much more comfortable with things today, Alan. Like your pacing was really good, choices of moves, some of the hard crunch, which I know can be really tough when your players are in a death spiral. Like when your players are just absolutely effing it up. So I that is the biggest challenge, I think, for PBTA GMs. Not improvising, but improvising when your players are losing.
Yes. Yeah.
So
no, yeah. True.
so
Any
interesting.
wishes?
Wishes?
Either in terms of plots or bits of the mechanics you'd like to see?
I would definitely like here or down the line more NPCs. I love interacting, having expanding our crew or having people that we go to. That is my jam. So if we can have some of that, I would really like that.
I hadn't realized that's where you were going with the recruiting two of the locals. So I mean, it might well be that you could still recruit some of the locals.
Well, we'll see.
Will, any stars, any wishes?
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was great to do what I think the system is intended to do, which is your stop off at a place ultimately becomes its own entanglement and its own adventure. Because really, I mean, mechanically wise, the reason we landed on the planet is because we were down overall 3 supply, I think, right? Like, it's fairly meaningless. If you know, all of those abstract numbers are fairly meaningless in and of themselves, right? It's particularly when there's 3 sets of you to go around with that. So I thought that was really fun that I enjoyed the way that we did the waypoints and stuff this time. I thought that presented a much more cohesive thing. I enjoyed, making stuff up at the start about, Relic, what happened to you? And I have no idea. Let's just ramble on about cults and mysterious stuff. And, when Lowell chose not to ask Relic more questions, I was like, oh, well, I'm curious now what the answers would have been, because I don't have a backstory or anything else like that. So I think it's interesting how asking those questions creates, it is in more than most PBTA play to find out kind of thing, because it's not until you ask the question, right, that it becomes in any way significant to anything whatsoever. And the moves point you towards doing that, but you don't need to do that. I enjoyed that I could have a fight without it completely disrupting the entire mechanics of everybody else, because they're quite in-depth fighting mechanics, right?
They are.
And I was, despite rolling absolutely terribly throughout the entire thing, I was very happy that one of my only successful rolls was a strong hit with a match, so I could do the Blademaster thing finally and actually be competent with something. But no, really good session. Wishes wise, I guess I would like to see perhaps us tick off some more of our progress tracks in some way, shape, or form. Perhaps even our background vows, because I do feel as though we made some progress on background vows already, such as, Raven helped stop a spirit slayer. Cinderwing and Relic have both discovered more things about their own MacGuffins and mysteries, right? Like that there is a connection there. So yeah, I think given that the background vow is so abstract, and I know we talked about you could tick it when you're ticking the other boxes, but I almost think that sometimes it's going to be a tick in and of itself. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't see when you would, you know what I mean? Sometimes that thing's going to be completely separate to the stuff you're doing, kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, interesting. There is the end of session moves, which I kind of keep forgetting to think about. So I'll come back to that in a moment. Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I'll echo all the stars that everybody else said. I enjoyed the session. I enjoyed the talk we had at first with the characters and the things that became clearer, and the relationships that became clearer between these three people who are thrown together on a ship. And I really loved how that escalated very quickly from, oh yeah, we're just resupplying, to maybe we can rescue some of the oppressed locals and help them out, give a little hand, but just suddenly to, yeah, let's start a revolution because we're just at that point in time and we're at a good place. So do it. Let's do it. I love that. I loved how everybody leaned into that. I loved how Raven was like, oh no, what are you doing? Okay, I'm helping.
And then becoming the voice of the revolution.
Yeah, rather reluctantly, I had the feeling, but I really loved it. I loved how Relic was like, oh, finally I get to hit something. Because you had the feeling that he was just waiting for one of them to step out of line and to just wail on them. And he did. It was pretty. So I also loved that the dice room is actually susceptible to compliments, apparently. Could have tried that earlier. Yeah. As to wishes, I'll echo again. No, I would like to meet more people, have few more NPCs, which is why I was like, okay, I really want to meet people this time, because I don't know, it's kind of interesting and kind of seeing like maybe meeting some people who are actually relevant to our however fuzzy backgrounds, meet a redeemer, meet one of my people, meet, I don't know, one of Relic's old war buddies, I guess. So that would be interesting, I think.
Fine. No, I think I'll move towards that.
Yeah, and I imagine that next time we will reach our destination, the Cross of Hyperion. So.
High hopes.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad.
I have been thinking about this progress, and we could have bogged down a lot there. So stars, I think, for the fact that nobody bogged down, and I think breaking down the waypoints in the way that we did was more efficient, more effective. And we got a settlement. Sabine, you wanted a settlement, we got a settlement, and look where that took us. So all of that, I think, is a lesson for the future. I am conscious that we could have slowed it down a lot by getting into the whole let's swear an iron vow to to support the revolution ... Whereas I think I'm inclined to treat that as a vow retrospectively. Yeah. So if you want to go back to your characters and go to your legacy quest track, I think there are two more small boxes to be marked on your legacy quest track. Yeah, which should light up a couple of XP boxes. For the moment, let's continue to use this kind of every time you fill a box on one of those legacies, you mark a small box on the background. So also mark, because the background doesn't get you anything. There's no XP attached to it. It's simply a kind of long-term driver for the character, really. So
I thought it provided XP as well.
No, it doesn't. It's purely role-playing. So so you filled one box in quests. So that means you fill one small box in the background. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it ought to be, it ought to take lots of other things to get you there. So you have 2 XP. You can bank it or spend it between now and next time. If you have a look at the rules reference, you will see that you can spend 2 XP to upgrade an existing asset, which means you can tick another box on an asset you already have to broaden its effectiveness, or you can sit on them and hope that in the next session you fulfill the actual iron vow that we've got on in motion around delivering a suspicious box, or a box which wasn't at all suspicious but seems to have become positively sinister. And sit on it, wait for that iron vow, and that will notch in some more progress on your quests and maybe take you forward. And of course, we will have a connection to establish. And you may then want to think about returning to existing connections so you can boost them. And that will again begin to put stuff in your connections legacy. Yeah. But lots of things to think about. Lowell looked like you were going to say something. Oh, you are muted though.
God damn it. For end of session, we can mark a tick on a progress track. Can we do that on our quest legacies track?
I think is that not what we've just done?
Oh, is that okay? I didn't realize that was how that was working. Okay.
Yeah. So you had 2 ticks last time into quests because you fulfilled that first iron vow. I'm treating the revolution as a similar iron vow. So you're ticking 2 more small
perfect.
boxes.
Okay.
And then the next iron vow should tick quite a few boxes on the grounds that it's a more difficult iron vow.
Awesome.
Can we tick a box off on get the black box for the Jackal contact at the Crux as well?
I think you probably should.
Yeah, because we didn't let them go into the cargo. They were very much interested in doing.
Exactly. So it's 1 box. Let me mark that up.
I just did that.
Oh, did you? Okay. Okie dokie, diddly dokey.
I should have kept quiet.
Yeah, so you're on 8 for Navigate to the Crux, so you'd have a very good chance of fulfilling that, getting there next time. And then it's about finding I think what I'm imagining is you need to find and overcome any obstacles between you and that Jackal contact at the Crux.
Also, might want to find the brother of that.
And meanwhile,
the person.
Try and find Creed Tolari.
Yeah.
Spot on. Right. I will stop the recording.